Hi guys, it's Colette, and today I'll be using some OPI Color Paints to do this all splash water marble. And I've been calling the swirled drop technique the splash technique in my head. I think probably because the first manicure I did with it was the water splash blobicure, and it just kind of stuck in my head. And I did quite a bit of testing before I settled on these colors, some of which I'll show you guys at the end of the video, and some of which I'll show you guys in a behind the scenes video that I have coming up. So, of course, if you'd like to be notified of all my new uploads, be sure you're subscribed and have the bell turned on. And if you'd like to see how I did this one, just stay tuned. First things first, to take off my old manicure before I get started on the new one. And I did want to give you guys a look at it matte. So I added matte top coat on these two nails and had a little bit of problem with the white dots, or like the crusty bits of the matte polish. If I had been actually going to wear it as a manicure, I would have been a little more careful, but I wasn't, and so that happened. And we're late on day 3 here, and if I had been planning to wear it longer, I probably would have added another layer of top coat, because I did start noticing some tip wear, and then this happened just a little bit ago, and also this one started to lift, and yeah. So that is one of my tips if you are going to wear peel off base coat. If you start noticing tip wear, you may want to add some extra top coat, and that will help to extend the wear. But I'm just going to go ahead and peel off the nails that haven't already come off before moving on to my next manicure. Alright, starting out with clean, dry nails, I'm going to be applying my base coat. As usual, I'm using Ready for Takeoff, which is a peel-off base coat, and you can use whichever is your personal favorite. Before I move on to my base color, I'm just going to quickly go over the polishes that I'm using today, and everything will be listed and linked down in the information box also. Now, for the marble, I am going to be using some color paints, but instead of the silver canvas that goes with that collection, I decided to just use Alpine Snow as my base. And you'll see at the end when I show you some of the test strips why I made that decision. And then the color paints that I'm going to be using are primarily yellow, chromatic orange, magenta muse, and then the pink is pen and pink. So I'm just going to be marbling with the colors and using the white as my base. Before I start marbling, I'm going to protect around my nails. I'm using Simply Peel, and you can use whichever kind of barrier you prefer. Alrighty, I have my 5-ounce cup of room temperature filtered water and a little lid as my palette. And I'm going to dip out a few drops of each of the 4 colors like last time, making sure to have a pretty generous amount so that I have enough to scoop up and dip into the cup. Alright, once they're all out, I'm going to take my large dotting tool, swirl them around a little bit, and start dipping into the cup. So I just did a total of 15 drops. I want this to be pretty nice and intense color. And I'm going to just carefully anchor the sides a little bit because it didn't spread all the way to the edges. And I'm going to be dipping 3 nails at a time, but not exactly all at once. I want the stripes of the rings to be kind of horizontal on my nail. So I'm going to kind of like line one up and then dip, and then line the next one up and dip. And I'm going to hope that it works out the way I want it to. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. So first with my index finger, gonna go ahead and dip. And I can see this is starting to dry a little bit already, but I'm gonna turn the cup a little bit and get my middle finger in there. And I think I'll just stick with those 2. I was hoping I'd be able to get 3, but it doesn't really look like it. So as usual, clear off the surface. You don't want the excess polish to stick to your design. And then slowly pull out. And that's okay. It looks good, but I'm a little disappointed that the index didn't go on there straight, especially since that was the first nail I dipped. I mean, it's like so crooked, I might as well have just dunked them at once. But I do like the intensity of the color, especially with the color paints, since they're sheer. If you don't get enough drops in there, it might end up a little paler than you'd prefer. So I'm gonna go ahead and with the tweezers remove my Simply Peel carefully, of course. That can be an opportunity for disaster if you're not careful. And once I get that removed, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll see. Probably gonna end up needing 2 more cups. Probably dip these 2 together and then my thumb separately. I was thinking to do my 3 middle nails together and then the pinky and thumb, but as you just saw, that didn't quite work out. Okay, so I've dipped the rest of this hand, and this is a good example of why I kind of wanted to dip my 3 middle fingers together to keep the colors more consistent. Even though I tried, and I'm pretty sure I did the same number of drops, just the different sizes of the drops have created a little bit of a difference in the colors. Also, since I do have a white base, I do have a couple spots where that white base is peeking through. And what I'm going to do for that is with a little small brush, I'm just going to go into some of my leftover polish and literally just like with a tiny bit, try to fill that in so that it's no longer white. And you can do that around the edges also if you want, or you can just clean up that white as you clean up. I'm going to see if I can kind of doctor it in there on the edges so I don't have too much of a bare edge. And then I'm going to move on to the cleanup. As I get started here with my other hand, it dawned on me rather belatedly that the other reason I might have gotten so much variation in color is because the first couple nails were a fresh pile of polish, and then I was just adding on top of that. So we'll see with these how it works out, comparison between the first dip and the second dip. Oh, that's really frustrating right there. I'm pleased that you can see these match the pinky pretty well, but I got a bad angle on my index finger, and about half of it is not freaking marbled. So, let's cut these apart. This is going to be quite the test of my polished surgery skills. I'm going to remove the latex and see what I can do about this. Okay, so I know that's not like the best thing ever, but from a distance, it actually doesn't look too bad. And what I did was just go into different areas of my leftover polish. I know it might look all one color on camera right now, but it is still got the color swirled in there. Applied that in the blank area in little short strokes, and then actually dipped the brush in a little bit of acetone to help blend it out a little bit more. And I'm not 100% happy, but I'm okay with it. I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to start over and redo the whole nail. Finally, I'm going to finish off with a top coat, and as usual, I'm using Seche Vite. So here's the finished manicure, and I really like it. There are several things I could nitpick about it, but I'm trying to cut myself some slack since this is a little bit newer of a technique. I think between my left and my right hand, I did definitely improve the consistency of my color mixing. I do wish I'd gotten a little bit more pink on the other nails, but you can see that the three fingers I dipped together and the pinky and the thumb are all very consistent in color, as opposed to this hand where these two nails, and then I dip these two, and then the thumb are all kind of a little bit different. And I had, like I showed you guys, the little spot that I needed to repair, and at some point apparently I bumped into this nail and have a little white spot there that I didn't notice, or I would have fixed it. But it's really bright. It's very springy, which we've been having an early spring, but now we're unfortunately getting a cold snap again. But I'm glad I picked these colors out of all the different colors that I tested with. And there will be a behind the scenes polish testing video for this manicure. I'm going to show you guys just a couple of them. This is the one test strip that I did not include in the video because I kind of tested it after I'd recorded it and after I completely changed my mind about what colors I was going to do. And here you can see why I chose not to use the silver base. It kind of just made them too reflective, and at certain angles it was like you couldn't really even see the colors. So I decided to just stick with the white base. This was the first test that I did with these colors, and this is a test of some of the other color paints to show you guys just a few other ones. Here are like the purple, pink, and I think the two blues of the color paints over white and over silver. And another couple that came out really awesome. These two strips were actually what I said in the video I was deciding between. These two are with the Alice in Wonderland colors that I used in my last video. And I still really like the way this came out. I may eventually do a manicure using these colors, but I have about half a dozen other test strips with 2 designs per strip. Almost all different colors that you guys can have a look when I get the behind the scenes video up. I really hope you guys enjoyed that one. And of course, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already and turn on those notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.